It's finally here. The moment that we have all been waiting for, the moment I've been waiting for. If you've been in the streams, if you've been following the streams, especially in the most recent ones, I have been very critical about Marvel Rivals matchmaking and how it feels like a 50-50 matchmaking system and how it feels like you get punished for winning a game in your next game. That's how I've been feeling about it. So I've been very critical about this, and I'm very happy that this video is finally here. I even called it out the other day and asked when this video is coming out, as they announced that it was coming, and then it just like didn't show up for like 2 weeks. But it's finally here. I'm a little bit late to the party, but better late than never. So we're gonna jump into this video and we're gonna watch the entire video. I'm gonna give my thoughts. I'm gonna preface this right now. All right, I play quick play more than I play ranked because I like the paced matchmaking of it. I don't like sitting there for over 10 minutes in like waiting for a ranked game, so I play quick play. I still like winning in quick play, but I also like messing around sometimes. But a lot of the times I still like to win even while I'm playing in quick play. So when they're going over some of the stuff for ranked, I'm not your guy, okay? I might not be the guy for this situation. I'm saying that right now. If you want somebody that has all of that stuff and you want somebody that will be able to fully understand and fully be able to explain it, go watch Flats. Go watch somebody that's been doing this for way longer than I have and has been in the competitive scene of other hero shooters. Go watch them, all right? I'm just going to give my raw thoughts and how I interpret this, and you can do what you want with the way that I do it. But let's start the video.
Hi Rivals, I'm Zuyong. We've heard your passionate feedback and ongoing discussions about matchmaking and ranking in Marvel Rivals.
Video froze there for a second.
And we want to give you a transparent look into how these systems work and what we are doing to improve them. Quick heads up.
The video is pretty laggy, I will say that. I mean, I'm on their Discord, so I mean, like, maybe I'll have to pop a download if it keeps on lagging. We'll see.
Any numbers used are for illustrative purpose only, and the calculation process is also simplified for easier understanding and does not represent the full detailed formulas.
Okay, I mean, fair enough, so that they can actually explain it to me like I'm 5, which, like, fair enough, but there's also that thought where it's like, if it's not the actual numbers and it's just an explanation of it, like a simple explanation of it, and it's not the full thing, that it could be almost oversimplified to the point where it's like borderline lying, you know? There's that, so I'm a little bit worried about that, but, you know, I could be wrong.
After every competitive match, your score is calculated based on 2 key components, base points and performance points, each weighted according to your current rank.
Alright, you know what? I'm going to download the video. Alright, the video's downloaded now, so we are just going to pop this baby into full screen, and we're going to restart here at how competitive points are calculated.
After every competitive match, your score is calculated based on 2 key components, base points and performance points, each weighted according to your current rank.
Which we already knew.
The formula looks like this.
Alright, hold on. I was a little bit slow on that one. Hold on.
And performance points, each weighted according to your current rank.
It took me a second to realize that.
The formula looks like this.
Alright. So, base points plus 1 minus 8 times performance points. Okay. So, base points.
This depends on match outcome, your current competitive score, average competitive score of...
Really? So, obviously match outcome, like, duh. but your current competitive score and average competitive score of the enemy team. So does that mean like when he says competitive score, does that mean like when you're like, let's say you're in gold 3, like gold 3 with like 57 out of 100? Like, is that what he means by competitive score, or like just like overall like there's a competitive score? Because if he means like when it's like 57 out of 100 and it weights it off of that, that kind of sucks. But like I could be misinterpreting it.
The enemy team. First, the match result determines whether you gain or lose points. Win and you will gain points, lose and you will lose points.
Obviously.
Second, the difference between your competitive score and the enemy team's average competitive score affects how many points you gain or lose. If a player's competitive score is lower than that of the enemy team, the system recognizes that the player is challenging a stronger opponent.
Oh, okay, so
in this case, a victory will grant an extra bonus to the base points. Why?
okay. Okay. So yeah, I think it's a different system. Let me just here, I'm just gonna fact check it. Oh no, I was right. Okay. So yeah, so if you have less points than the enemy team, then you get more. So that would explain why some games you'll win by the same amount, or you'll do well. Like you'll do like the same amount of like kills or like whatever, you'll perform the same, but then you'll get less points or more points. So yeah, I was literally right.
A defeat will result.
That's kind of a bad system, dude. Like, just because somebody won, like, a couple more games doesn't necessarily mean that they're a stronger opponent, you know? That doesn't necessarily make them better just because they happen to win a couple games. Like,
in fewer points deductions. The reverse applies when facing lower ranked teams. Examples: players' competitive score 3,500, enemy team's average 3,500, win plus 20 base points, lost minus 20 base points.
okay, so never mind, I was wrong. Never mind, I was wrong. The competitive point system is completely different. Now it's making me wonder what my competitive points is, but still though, like I'm assuming that you get points when you win games. So that's where this is kind of flawed, because it's like if somebody's like boosting or getting carried, then they're gonna have a high amount of competitive points. So then they're gonna be put on a team with someone like, let's say it's a system like he said, where it was like you're playing somebody that has like a higher skill level, so then you get more points, quote unquote, because of their competitive points. But it's like they might not actually genuinely have a higher skill level. They could just be getting carried. They could be in a squad where they're one of the worst players, and then they end up playing by themselves. So that also needs to be taken into consideration, where it should be looking at how many average kills they're getting compared to their deaths, what their KD is. It shouldn't just be based off of this to determine whether or not you're playing against a more skilled player or not, you know? Because that like has so many chances to be a flawed system.
Players' competitive score 3,500. Enemy team's average 3,700. Win plus 25 base points. Lost minus 15 base points. Players.
See, and that's where it's like if you win, you get more, and then if you lose less, which is a good thing. That's where it's a good thing, because if the enemy team's better and you lose, then it's kind of like, okay, well, that makes sense. So we can't penalize you as the same as a regular game where it's even like this. So that makes sense. But like I said, it's just like even with it being the average, like that still can go wrong in so many ways. But what I like about it though is that they recognize that it's unfair to penalize you the same if you play a better team.
Competitive score 3,500. Enemy team's average 3,300. Win plus 15 base points. Lost minus 25 base points.
See, now that's the thing, right? That's that right here. This end part
3,300.
is
Win
where it's
plus
kind
15
of
base points.
like
Lost minus.
this is where it's kind of a problem, right? So once again, even with this one, like even in this situation, what is stopping the game from matchmaking me? And unless it's like there's 6 people right on each team and it evenly distributes the score to have a flat score, so in this case 3500, and it evenly splits it across those 6 people so that all 6 people have the same score to make that team average. If that's how it works, then great, perfectly fine. But I guarantee you that there are some situations where you'll have an average team score that's higher, but there's one person on that team that carries the hell out of that team score. I guarantee it. I know that it's the player's competitive score, but you also have to consider that they have it for the entire team as well to make it an actual matchmaking system, because it says players competitive score, enemy team's average, right? So there's a whole team average that goes into it. Is the way that I'm understanding it on both sides, that each team has it, and then that's how you matchmake it, and then both of the teams have a average base points between both of them, right? So what's stopping the matchmaking from, in this case, let's say it's 3,500 for both teams, putting one guy on there that has a score of 1,500 and then separating 2,000 across the other 5 people? Like, what's what's stopping it from doing that, right? Because then those guys would have a way worse score. So, I mean, once again, I could be completely wrong about that, but considering it says enemy team's average, I would assume that your team also has an average, and that's how it match makes them together.
25 base points. This reflects your individual performance tailored to your hero's role. Performance points reflect how well you played during the match. Because heroes in Marvel Rivals have widely different powers and roles, we don't just tally up stats. Even if 2 players contribute equally to the outcome, their raw stats may look very different depending on which hero they played. Instead, to accurately evaluate your impact, we use several steps to calculate performance points. For each hero used in the match, we normalize match stats to a per 10-minute value and convert that into a single performance value. We compare that to the average performance value for that same hero at your rank, also per 10 minutes. That gives a hero-specific performance coefficient. The better you perform versus the average, the higher your coefficient. If you played multiple heroes, we time weight those to get your match coefficient. We then compare your performance coefficient to your team's average.
Okay, so lots to digest there. So for each hero used in the match, we normalize match stats to a per 10-minute value and convert that into a single performance value. Fair enough, you know? If you're like, some people might be doing better at some instances, they might be doing better and worse in different parts of the match. So that's fine. Like, that's a good way to do it, in my opinion. Then they compare that average value to the same hero at your rank. So you're comparing it to like other people, like everybody like that's in the same rank using the same hero, and then it gives a hero specific performance coefficient. See, I don't think that it should be hero specific, because I understand that like the characters are different, right? There's different levels. Like Spider-Man is, well, you know what? I was just like, because I was gonna say that it should just be like role specific, where it's like for all tanks, all DPS, and then all supports, and then you get weighted off of that. But the way that that Rivals works is that like a Spider-Man should not be getting the same amount of points as a Squirrel Girl that just sits in the back line and just like mindlessly sprays, you know? So actually that kind of makes sense for them to do it like that, where it's hero specific instead of role specific, because I'm pretty sure in Overwatch it's just role specific. So if you played multiple heroes, we time weight those to get your match coefficient. Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to do it too. Like, if you play as somebody that's less like skillful for most of the game, and then you switch to a harder one at the end, you should still be weighted for the one that's easier to play as if you played as them for most of the time. And then your performance coefficient to your team's average to determine your final points. That's good too, man. Like I'd be pissed if I won a game and went 23-5 and I had a teammate that went 8-10 and he got the same amount of ranked points as me. I'd be pissed. So, I mean, I think that the points calculation thing is pretty good actually, all things considered. Um yeah, I think that it should also, I mean, like they said that it's like determined based off a rank. So I hope that they talk about that, and I hope that they say something about whether or not it determines the enemy team's rank as well, because there's some times where you'll be playing against people that are in a higher rank than you. So I hope that they talk about that too.
To determine your final performance points. Examples. A Diamond 1 player spends 4 minutes as Loki and 6 minutes as Invisible Woman in a 10-minute match. Let's break down the performance points calculation. First, the system converts their in-game stats to 10-minute averages and then convert them into performance value. Assuming Loki has a performance value of 1,200 and Invisible Woman has 1,000. Next, the
Which makes sense because Loki's a harder character to play as than Invisible Woman.
system finds the average performance value for Diamond 1 players with those heroes, which we will assume Loki and Invisible Woman both are 1,000. We then calculate the performance coefficients. Loki's coefficient is 1.2, while Invisible Woman's is 1. This is then weighted by playtime. The overall coefficient works out to be 1.08. Finally, this player's coefficient is compared to the other 5 teammates. Let's say that they are 1, 1, 0.8, 0.8, and 1.15, resulting in an average of 0.97. This gives us the final adjustment.
Okay, so I was hoping that it was going to be a little bit more in depth than this, because right now he's basically just saying, hey, so it takes, even though they said before that it was for specific heroes, and this is why I was saying that it should be, they should consider what role you're playing in as well, because if you have a 1.08 as like a mix of Loki and Invisible Woman, and then these are tanks, your other support, and 2 DPS, let's say. So, like, let's say just, like, for example, that the 2 ones are the tanks, DPS, and then the other guy's a support, and then your average, so the average of the team is this, and then you have a higher one, it's like, yeah, you have a higher performance coefficient than the average of your team, but is that also taking into consideration the fact that you're playing as support, and then they're playing as DPS, and they're playing as tank? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I feel like it should be like a little bit more weighting just to fully have its own separate system for each role. And then have each hero in that role have their own system that'll determine it based off of difficulty of that hero in that role.
The performance coefficient of 1.11. Once both your base points and performance points are calculated, your final score is determined by weighting these 2 parts. The weights vary by rank. As you climb the ranks, the weighting of base points will gradually increase, while performance points weighting decreases. In low
Hold on a second.
rank, as you climb the ranks, the weighting of base points will gradually increase, while performance points weighting decreases.
Why the hell would that be how it works? In higher ranks, performance points weighting decreases? Why? If I am playing in a like celestial lobby and I drop 40 kills and only die 5 times, I should be getting way more points than the rest of my team. There's no reason why base points should be worth the same amount. Base points should be worth the same amount when you're playing in lower ranks with bad teammates. You should be rewarded for doing well in good ranks. It shouldn't be the other way around.
In lower ranks, performance points have a higher weight to help skilled players rise faster.
Help skilled players rise faster. Okay, so if it's to help skilled players rise faster, right? Then that means that it's literally just like those skilled players get elevated immediately to the higher ranks, and then that's how you get hard stuck. That is exactly how you get hard stuck. If you had it the other way around, then the people that are actually the best of the best would be in the high ranks. I feel like it would be a more balanced rank system if you were rewarded for having good performances in higher ranks, and then in lower ranks it was a base team performance, considering in lower ranks there's a hell of a lot worse players than there are in higher ranks. Like, I feel like that makes more sense.
Higher ranks shift weight towards base points for consistency. Example: a player wins a rank match, earning 20 base points and 30 performance points. If the player is in silver, with a base point weight of 0.4 and a performance point weight of 0.6, the final score gained is 26. If the player is in celestial, with a base point weight of 0.7 and a performance point weight of 0.3, the final score gained is 23.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, this is right here. This is what this is what I'm here for. But like, just like with this, it's just like, that just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like that's incredibly stupid that you would not get rewarded for having having a good performance in higher ranks. That just doesn't make sense to me. Why would I not be rewarded more for having an incredibly good game in one of the top ranks in your game versus me having a good game in like bronze, silver, or gold? That seems illogical. It's easier to have a good game in bronze, silver, or gold. I get that you want the good players out of there fast, but like, then you get hard stuck, especially if you're in that if you're in that realm where you're better than like bronze, silver, and gold rank, and then maybe even platinum, and then you hit diamond, and that's how people get hard stuck in platinum and diamond. That's how people struggle, and they go, well, I don't understand what's going wrong. I win a game and then I lose a game, and then I win a game and then I lose a game. Maybe I win two and then I lose a game. Like, it gets impossible to climb after a certain point because it's just based off of base points instead of performance. Like, I don't like that, man. I think that it should be the other way around.
Of 0.3, the final score game is 23.
All right, this is the grand pappy of them all for me.
Our players hail from all corners of the globe, each with different time zones and connection speeds. Balancing fast matchmaking with fair matches has always been our challenge and focus for ongoing improvement. In Marvel Rivals, players are matched based on server node selection, team composition, competitive score. Once matchmaking starts, the system looks for opponents on your chosen server or servers. As wait time increases, the system gradually expands the search to higher and lower ranks, helping you get into a match promptly. The expansion is kept to prevent unbalanced games. Once we have 12 players within the acceptable rank range, the match is set. Teams are then arranged to minimize differences in average competitive scores. Team matchmaking is based on team size. For fairness, a 6-player team will only face another 6-player team. Finding an exact match can take time when taking into account all the factors, like competitive scores, server selection, etc. Since launch, 5-player teams have been disabled to protect solos. For other team size, the system opens up to more combinations as wait time increases. Take a 4-player team.
See, here's the thing, right? So he's like with the whole 5-player like stack to protect a solo. I think that would almost be more beneficial for somebody that's solo queuing, right? Because if you are playing as a solo and you have 5 people that are all communicating and you're by yourself, they are all in communication with each other and will be able to work as a team. If you're a good enough player as a solo, you'll be able to actually like win really well with them. Whereas if you're a solo and then you queue with somebody that's also a solo, and then like a trio, and or like 4, like solo 4, or like 3 solos and then a trio or whatever, or a solo like duos, like whatever, right? Then the team is all over the place. There's like no actual form of communication. I feel like they should add the ability to 5-stack. Like it doesn't protect it, like doesn't protect a solo if 5-stacking isn't there. I feel like it would be more beneficial for solo players to play with a 5-stack because they're actually working as a team. Whereas if it's like trios, they're not working as a team. Everybody's staggered in comms because they're all talking to different people.
For example, the first system tries to match with another 4-player team, but if none are promptly found, it will eventually expand to mixed teams like 4-1-1 versus 3-2-1. Longer waits means broader competitive scores ranges, and reaching the upper limit of the range can result in a difference in scores between the two teams.
So basically what he's saying is if you guys want balanced games and you're in a queue for longer than like 2 or 3 minutes, cancel the queue, I guess. Then you might not get stomped out.
From the matchmaking results, this would appear to be an unbalanced battle. However, tightening the rules would mean much longer waits and a bad experience. This is the core challenge. Balance.
What? So you're telling me, even though I already have to wait over 10 minutes sometimes for a game in ranked, that balancing the changes and balancing the bad matchmaking that happens to people would result in a bad experience? What? I completely disagree. If you up the matchmaking, like if you fix it, and I have to wait longer, I'm already waiting 10 minutes for a game. Like, if you're willing to actually make it better matches and more even and fair matches so that I'm not getting stomped out by people that are clearly better than my entire team, I'm willing to make that sacrifice and wait longer for games. 100%. Even for like quick play. Quick play, the queue time for quick play is 3 seconds. I would be completely willing to wait a minute for a quick play game if it was at the cost of me actually getting a good team.
Matchmaking quality and speed. Team queues make this speed versus quality trade-off more noticeable. At higher ranks, there are fewer players and they are spread across different servers, so this happens more often. So, after careful review, starting in Season 3.5, we've temporarily restricted teams of 4 or 6 players from matchmaking at higher ranks, where their balanced matches are harder to find. Moving forward, we will continue to explore new solutions to better meet the diverse needs of players.
Yeah, that's just a bad move, dude. Like, making it so that 4 or 6 people can't queue together, that's just a bad move. Like, it just is, bro. Like, you're just making it so that people can't play with their friends at higher ranks. Like, you're like genuinely punishing people for having friends. Like, that's just a bad play.
To help you better understand how the matchmaking system works, here's an example scenario. Suppose Player A teams up with Player B and Player C to queue for competitive. In this scenario, Player A is Diamond 1, Player B is Diamond 3, Player C is Platinum 1. The average rank of this 3-player team is around Diamond 3. They select only the Oregon server node for matchmaking. Since there aren't enough teams of the same size and rank in the queue on this node, the matchmaking system gradually expands the search range as time passes. After 5 minutes, the system finds 9 more players who meet the criteria. These 9 players include another 3-player team with an average rank of Platinum 1, a 2-player team with an average rank of Diamond 2, and 4 solo players: Player D, Diamond 1, Player E, Diamond 2, Player F, Platinum 1, Player G, Diamond 2. To ensure fairness, the system first places the 2 3-person teams on opposite sides. Then, the remaining team compositions are Side A, 3-player team plus 2-player team plus 1 solo player. Side B, 3-player team plus 3 solo players. Now, the exact team split is determined by the solo players to make both sides' average ranks as close as possible. The fairest division is Side A, 3-player team, Diamond 3 average, plus 2-player team, Diamond 2 average, plus Player F, Platinum 1. Side B, 3-player team, Platinum 1 average, plus Player D, Diamond 1, plus Player E, Diamond 2, plus Player G, Diamond 2.
I guarantee you that this team loses every time. This team loses every single fucking time. Every time. Because the Platinum 1 team, where this is where it's a problem, right? The Plat 1 team, where they're getting thrown in with all of these guys. These 3 are communicating with each other and are better than these guys. I mean, it's only by 1 rank, right? It's only by 1 rank. And then these guys are also better and they're communicating with each other. This team, these 3 are communicating with each other. None of these guys are. None of these solos are communicating with each other. I guarantee you that every single time this team loses. Every time. Every single game, even with the ability of having voice chat, all that, this team loses every time. Compared to this one. If you have a 3-stack of average of Diamond 3, which by the way, this was more like, it was Diamond 1, Diamond 3, and Plat 1, whereas these guys are all Platinum, I'm pretty sure. If I look back at it, let's take a look. Let's go back here. Yeah, their whole team is Plat 1. Their entire team is Plat 1. So if you're considering that, right, this whole team's Plat 1. This is Diamond 3, Diamond 1, and Plat 1. This team's already better than them. Already. You have a Diamond 1. You're basically Grandmaster. And then these guys, Diamond 2, it's just better. This team wins every single time. Like, every time.
In this scenario, there are still notable rank gaps within each side.
Exactly.
For example, Side A's Player F, Platinum 1, and Side B's Player D, Diamond 1, each have a 2 to 3 division differences from their teammates. This means there can be internal team imbalances.
Exactly.
Assume once the match begins, the role selections are as follows. Side A, the 3-player team picks a Vanguard Player A, Duelist Player B, and Strategist Player C. The 2-player team chooses a Vanguard and a Duelist. Player F, a Duelist main, sticks with his preferred role instead of filling the missing Strategist slot. To balance the team, the Duelist Player B from...
And this is where role queue would be a good option. Honestly, I think that they should throw out an experimental game mode with role queue. Even if you don't want to do it as ranked, do what they're doing. They just dropped Resource Rumble today. Drop an experimental game mode with role queue. If it works and people like it, make another ranked game mode where there's role queue. Or it's that simple. That's what you need to do. Because this prime situation right here is exactly why you need role queue. If you're queuing with someone that's a DPS main and they don't know how to flex, they need to be able to, like, they should be able to just pick role queue. And then it would be more balanced, because there is a lot of problems with Rivals where people don't know how to play a support. I don't know how you don't know how to play a support in this game, honestly. Playing a support in Marvel Rivals is the easiest thing on the planet. It really is. It's not hard to play a support. If you're getting dove or whatever, there's even counters for it now. You can play, if you have a Black Panther diving you can switch to Ultron. There are switches that you can make for your team to counter that dive. And if you're still getting dove after that and you're not getting help from your team, then at that point, it's not your fault. You know, it's just like, if somebody's a duelist main and they can't grasp the idea of playing as a strategist, even like just to a mediocre standpoint, that's their fault, man. That is 100% on them. It is not hard to play a support in this game. At least to like grasp the idea of it. Especially considering there's people like Rocket, Cloak and Dagger, Jeff. There's easy people that you can play as that can fill out that slot, especially in a situation like this where someone that's actually good picks a strategist. You don't have to be a good strategist, you just have to be a mediocre strategist that can help out the guy that's actually good at playing a support. So it's just like, in that situation, like, that's why there needs to be role queue, because people just refuse to learn how to play different roles in this game.
The 3-player team feels as a strategist. Side B, the 3-player team picks a vanguard, duelist, a strategist. Player D picks an additional strategist. Player E picks another vanguard. Player G picks another duelist. We believe that this is a situation many players have encountered before.
Yep.
In this case, Side B has a strategic advantage, as all 6 players are playing their main roles. On Side A, a duelist main is forced to fill as a strategist.
Which is why we need role queue.
And the lowest ranked player is also playing duelist, which may weaken the team's synergy. Recently, we have received a lot of feedback from the community, with many players believing that our matchmaking system employs EOMM, engagement optimized matchmaking. This would imply manipulating the matchmaking queue to keep players' win rates around 50%, ensuring they remain engaged in the game. We want to be clear: Marvel Rivals does not use EOMM. So, why do some matches feel uneven? Why do certain...
Yeah, I'd like that question answered. If you don't use EOMM, then why the fuck am I going on 10-game losing streaks and getting SVP in every single game? I'd like to know. I'd really like to know that.
Certain players encounter win or loss streaks. We would like to take this opportunity to provide some insights, hoping to clarify some of the confusion for everyone. In a competitive two-sided game, the fewer players on each side, the more accurately the competitive score reflects individual skill. However, as team size increases, this accuracy drops, since even if both teams have identical average scores, other factors like teamwork and coordination can sway the outcome. Additionally,
so basically what he's saying is, if you're playing by yourself, you have a higher chance, apparently, quote unquote, to have more skilled teammates because you're playing by yourself, so it takes more into a factor of individual skill. Whereas if you're playing with 3 people, 4 people, whatever, then your 2 teammates are going to be ass, pretty much, is what he's saying, which is ridiculous. Like, it honestly, like, having it be like that, where it's not an even balance of just individual skill in the team, is just baffling, dude. Why would you just not have it be a balanced 50-50 thing, where half of it is taking into account individual skill, and then the other half of it is taking into account how you do as a team? It, like, why would it not be like that? Like, why is it like why does it make a difference if you're playing in a team or not? Like,
because we don't lock roles, players might end up playing a role they are less comfortable with, which means they may not perform at their rank's full potential. Even if you are assigned your preferred role, playing a hero you are less skilled with can also affect your impact in the match. So, why don't we add role queue? First, we believe that allowing players the freedom to play as their favorite superheroes and team up with others to create diverse creative team combos encourages more varied strategies and gameplay.
Which is why you just add a exclusive role queue game mode. That's why you do that. If you want to have it still be diverse and still have that creativity, make it a separate game mode. You don't have to have it be the same thing. Just add it as a test game mode. People want it. There's people like me and like other people that think that role queue would be a good idea. It's in other games. Just do it, man. If you just make a separate game mode, you can test it out in quick play. You don't not in regular quick play. Just make a separate quick play game mode with role queue. If people like it, you can make a separate ranked game mode with role queue, or you can just have it as an option in ranked, where you can turn role queue on or off. It's that simple, dude. Just if you just do that, they just have to test it. If it gets a poor reception with the community, don't do it. But just because you believe that you want to create diverse team strategies doesn't mean that the competitive player wants to do that. I'm not going out there trying to create a comic book team up in a ranked game to live my dream fantasy of playing as a superhero. And that's coming from a diehard Marvel fan. If I'm playing ranked because I'm competitive and I want to win. I'm not playing ranked to create my dream lineup of superheroes. Right? I'm just not doing that.
Second, adding role-based matchmaking would significantly increase queue times,
which is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make, and I guarantee you that most people are willing to make. The wait times, majority of the time, are already long as fuck, bro. You can that is a sacrifice that I guarantee you most people are willing to make, is have longer queue times for a role queue game mode.
Failing to fully eliminate skill discrepancies between matches. Where there are choices, there will be differences. Objectively, it's quite challenging to have an equal number of players across the three roles. To strike a balance between matchmaking speed and fairness, the competitive score ranges for each role would have to differ. Roles with fewer players would have lower competitive score thresholds, while roles with more players would require higher thresholds. This, in turn, will lead to greater variance in match quality. We are working to introduce more interesting vanguards and strategies in future updates to give players more choices, but these changes will take time to develop. We thank you for your patience.
Honestly, man, I don't know. It's just, for me, I could have my own head up my ass, but that just sounds like bullshit, bro. Especially as somebody that played Overwatch in my free time and ranked for so long with role queue, and it was a pretty balanced system. It just seems like bullshit, bro. Granted, Overwatch did have a 50-50 matchmaking system, or at least what seemed like a 50-50 matchmaking system. But it's saying that you would have to just that it would be different for each one is literally their own problem because of how many DPS there is versus strategists and tanks. If it was somewhat of an even number, it would be easier. Or like I said, that's why you can still have it as a separate game mode. Even if you don't want to do it in ranked. Some people just want to play in role queue. And just having it as a separate game mode, even in quick play, even if you don't introduce it into ranked, I feel like people would still enjoy it if it was a permanent game mode that you can play in, just to have role queue, even if it wasn't in ranked.
Statistically, win and loss streaks are a matter of probability. For example, if two sides are truly 50-50, over 3 games, the chance of 3 consecutive wins or losses is 12.5%. Over 10 games, the chance of 3 or more wins or losses in a row rises to 50%.
Are you really trying to convince me that I just have bad luck and that's why I go on losing streaks? Are you serious right now? I know that you're not serious right now. You're trying to convince me that the reason why I go on losing streaks is because I have bad luck in your probability? Seriously? That is such a shit answer to the win or loss streak. I thought that he was going to come out here and be like, "Oh, the more wins that you have, you get like the more wins that you're on, the win streak that you're on, you get you get worse teammates because of how you're performing." Nope. You just tell me, "Oh, you're shit out of luck, man." That's why you're on a losing streak. Because our probability increases when you're on a win streak. Nice. Nice. No, not because when you do better, you get worse teams because you're on a roll and you're doing good. No. Or you play against better teams because you're on a roll. No. It's you're out of luck. You just ran out of luck. Right.
So, over enough games, everyone will eventually experience win or loss streaks. For those interested, you can use
It's like fucking Thanos, bro. It's destiny.
tools to calculate the probability of achieving a streak, whether it's 5 consecutive wins or 5 consecutive losses.
Did he just leak the how to rank up? You calculate what the probability of you winning or losing a game, and if you calculate that you have a higher probability of losing 5 consecutive games, you just hop in a quick play. He just leaked the strat. You just calculate it. You pop in a quick play. You lose your 5 games. You calculate it again. Oh, looks like I have a higher chance of winning. Let's go back to ranked. Hey man, that might be the strat.
Under different win rate scenarios over 10 matches. Of course, the game isn't pure math. Several in-game factors can increase the likelihood and impact of streaks, making these experiences feel more pronounced. For example, team average scores are rarely perfectly balanced, so actually win rates may not be exactly 50%. When queuing consecutively,
Oh, sorry, it might be more like 60-40, 55-45. Right. That explains it, you know. That makes me feel good inside that that you don't use a 50-50 matchmaking system because it's slightly flawed. Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. That makes me feel better. That really just clears up the entire 50-50 system to the point where it just really makes me believe that you're not doing it and you're not trying to do it because your system's slightly flawed. Right.
you may face some of the same players in back-to-back games,
Yep.
which can carry over the outcome chance from previous matches.
Yep.
This is even more common in team matchmaking, where the pool of available combinations is smaller, especially during off-peak hours or in less populated regions. Even if the probability of a streak occurring is just 1%, Marvel Rivals' large player base means many will experience that. We are constantly analyzing feedback and refining our systems. Your trust and input help us shape a better experience. Thank you for being part of the Marvel Rivals community. We are excited to keep improving with you.
I don't know, man. Some of it some of it is good, like with the matchmaking, but at the end there, addressing the EOMM and 50-50 system and the probability and shit and all that fucking it literally just seems like they're lying. It feels like they're lying, bro. That's all I can say. It genuinely just feels like they're lying about it. It's just like telling me that the reason why I'm going on a losing streak is because of probability is ridiculous. So you're saying that if I go on a 10-game win streak, I should go buy a lottery ticket because I'm like shitting out gold. I'm that lucky. Like that's ridiculous. It shouldn't be based off of probability on whether or not I'm going to go on a win or losing streak. It should be factoring in the skill of everybody on the team. Every single time that I matchmake and I like queue in with somebody, it should be considering their skill, their rank, their average KD. It should be all of this stuff. It shouldn't just be a probability on whether or not I'm going to queue with good teammates. Like, or if I'm going to win or not. That's just bullshit. That is completely ridiculous. You might as well just say that it's EOMM at that point, if you're running it based off of probability. Because even if you're not intending to use a 50-50 matchmaking system or EOMM, you're still technically kind of doing it with this whole probability thing. Because at the end of the day, that probability will still narrow it down to close to or exactly a 50-50 matchmaking system. That's why every single season, on my account in Rivals, every single season, I have close to a 50% win rate. Every single season. It doesn't change. So you can say that you're not using it, but then with your probabilities, it still goes back to it being around that area. So even though you're not intentionally using it, you're still basically using it. But anyways, that's how I'm interpreting this. I kind of feel like it's a load of bull crap there at the end. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And yeah, they finally dropped it at least. But some of it's good, some of it's not. Some of it I just don't believe them. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.